Good morning. Good morning to you. Welcome to Leaning In with Anne. This is a walk and talk that I do every weekday morning. Oh, welcome to the day. Let's talk about what you would love. Yesterday we established some reasons why we can't ask for what we would love if we don't know what we would love. So our first step in this is to give yourself permission to hear what you would love. Give yourself permission, right? I have permission to check into what I would love. I had an interesting situation. I went to go see Avatar. And my kids know that I love Avatar. Like, I loved the first one so much. I saw it several times at the movie theater and then at home, and it's just one of my favorite. I love the I see you moment. And usually I just kind of default to what other people want. Like, I'm pretty easygoing, so if they want to go see this, they want to do that. There's some things that I say no, but for the most part, I just kind of go with what other people want. I don't really express that much because I don't really care. It was really interesting to watch my children be so excited to take me to Avatar because they knew that I loved it. And I went, wow. Me not expressing what makes me happy and what I would love, I've always thought is more loving because I'm deferring to somebody else's desire. But they have no idea. They don't know what I like and what makes me happy in any given moment because I'm not expressing it. I'm doing what moms do, you serve them. You're kind of like, I don't know, like Barney, right? There's a costume called Mom, and you don't let yourself be seen that you are an actual human that's operating all the mom stuff. It was so interesting. So what would I love is the first step. Now let's get into asking for what you would love. So many things in this. So we're going to go into a relationship that you have where you communicating what you would love is a little bit difficult. Everybody got that relationship? First thing that we've got to do is we've got to check in about the reality of that relationship. Is the other person capable? Not just do they want to or not, do you have differences of opinions, but I have some people in my life that are toxic. That's different than difficult, right? There's some people that are difficult, and there's some people that are toxic. I do not ask for what I want from toxic people. I do ask if they want, and what I mean by that is, like, sometimes there's this, well, I just don't even know what you want. They'll say that. And my only response to that, instead of telling them, because they may not be able to handle it, is, are you interested in knowing? If you are interested in knowing my opinion, my thoughts, I'm so willing to share that with you. If you're not, and this is all about just having me speak so that you can argue and condemn me and tell me why I'm wrong, I'm not willing to give that to you. I've actually said that before. They get a little mad, which means they weren't interested in knowing what I wanted to say anyway. Okay. When you were a child with emotionally immature parents, so many of us had that, that doesn't mean that they were immature as adults. It means that emotionally they didn't know what they felt. So anything that you felt could possibly be very threatening to them. So don't ask, just receive and be happy with whatever I give to you. Sound familiar? Do you have anybody in your life who actually doesn't want to hear what is in your heart and just wants you to enjoy what they want you to enjoy? I have been that person. totally been that person. What was happening, emotional immaturity. I wasn't connected to myself. I didn't give myself permission to feel because I had been taught you're not supposed to feel jealous, you're not supposed to feel bad, you're not supposed to feel distrustful, you're not supposed to feel those things. You're supposed to feel gratitude, and you're supposed to feel generosity, and you're supposed to feel supportive and loving. Like all of those things are okay to feel. Oh, you can always feel shame. I always had permission to feel shame. So I didn't have a model. I just did what the default was, which was how my parents parented, and they were emotionally detached. They didn't have the skill set to be emotionally present with me. And so I did what good parents do. I made sure that homework was done, that they got to school on time, that they had dinner, that they had baths, that they didn't watch too much TV. When I was a young mom, we didn't have computer issues because we didn't have that present. But I did what a good mom does, and that is make sure that you clean your room. I need to teach you responsibility. That makes me a good mom. I need to teach you obedience. That's what makes me a good mom. If you do all the things that I say for you to do, then I get to reward you because that's what a good mom does. Okay? I was doing what a good mom looks like. Well, let me tell you what happened. I've said this before, but I want to really hit it to you. I went upstairs and my daughter was crying. And I was so tired. Couldn't even function. And I see her crying, and I had nothing emotionally to give to her. First of all, I wasn't giving anything emotionally to myself, so I was really, really depleted. And she's 6, and she's crying, and I said, hey, so what's going on right now? And it wasn't, oh, honey, oh, you're sad. What's happening? No, it was, what's happening? Why are you crying? Notice the difference in the tone. I'm just sad, she says. She was connected with her feeling. And I'm like, I'm thinking other kids have done things to her, and I just don't have it in me. I just want her to go to bed. She's been fed. Did she have her bath? She's had her bath. She's in her jammies. Check, 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 check. And I just said, hey, you know I love you, right? And she said, I know you love me, Mommy, but sometimes I just don't feel loved by you. That was a zinger to me. That was huge. I still think about the moment of that. Guess what? She had asked me to come upstairs. She had built a fort in her bunk bed, had books, teddy bears, a flashlight. She desired for me to come upstairs. She had asked me, and I had been doing what a good mom looks like and not connecting with her heart. So I wasn't actually being the good mom that I wanted to be. And so she learned not to ask because it was going to burden somebody else. And so she just did things on her own. She had her little, I always thought, oh, she's so cute. She just imagines and plays so well by herself, which is a good skill to have, not gonna lie. And yet, stopped asking, stopped talking. Okay, if you have a hard time asking for what you would love, that might be part of the issue. And the reason is because you have history about that, right? There's an element that I didn't talk about yesterday that is really playing into this. And that is the voices in our heads. There are 3 in a healthy mind. There's your own voice that questions, it wonders, it makes deals with yourself. If I do this, then I'll do that. It's always trying to seek the best way, the truth, or the escape. How do I, do this? Then there's the voice of the Spirit. And the voice of the Spirit tells you immediately, do this. And it's really subtle. And it's just one little thought comes into your head. Do this. Go upstairs. Let go. Drop what you're doing. That kind of thing. And it's really easy to dismiss. No, 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 I'll get to it later. No, it's not a big deal. I'm just being distracted. I'm not being disciplined. Okay, all of those things, all of those thoughts, I'm being distracted. I can do this later. I've got to get this done first. Those are not you fighting you. There is another voice, the voice of the adversary. He tells you all sorts of things to get you to stop doing whatever would be most beneficial. So let's take this moment again. She asks me, Mommy, will you come upstairs? There was a part of me that wanted to, and then all of the voices. You've got too much to do. You're too tired. You can't do this. She's fine. Tell her you'll do it tomorrow. All of those things rushed in. And the reason why, or the way that you can tell the adversary's voice, is because there's a barrage. Like, so there's a whole bunch of those reasons and excuses all at one time. So let's do this in a different way. Let's think again about asking for what you desire. See, we're dealing with the father of lies, guys. If there is only one God, and that law of opposition exists, then there's only one enemy, and he doesn't want anything good for you. So, the minute you start thinking about something that would be good, all of the reasons why it's not going to work is going to show up. The question is, can you catch the lie? Can you catch it? Wait a minute. I want a vision with my husband. Guess what happened? I thought about this morning. All of a sudden there was a rush in. And it was like, yeah, but he doesn't want a vision. He's going to get overwhelmed. This isn't going to work. He's got different ideas than you do. It's just going to end up in a fight. Just keep your stuff to yourself. Just write in your journal. Don't talk to him about this. And it was a barrage. Guess what I know now? The thought, hey, invite your husband into a visioning conversation, was actually from the Spirit. Do you know how I know? Because the barrage came right after that. It's almost like I can use the barrage and all of the reasons why I can't and shouldn't. I use it as confirmation. I go, ah, there you are. You just did it. That means this is exactly what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to invite my husband into a let's explore kind of moment. And if I've got that much time, I can totally envision the feeling of creating together. We've done it before. Not a lot. We have more times where it's not. Okay, ask for what I want. What I would love is to have a visiting session. Okay, telling the truth about what I want. Here we go. Why don't we tell the truth, guys? You know what you want. Let's take my situation right here. I know that I would love a visiting session with my husband. I know that I would love that. Like, it just would feel so good to set up our year a little bit. Not goals, but what things would we like to look back on next year. That feels so good to me. And telling the truth about that, a little hard. Meaning for me to go and say, hey, honey, how do you feel about this? I would really love to do this. And if the adversary is running on that side, could be saying, don't do this, it's never going to go right, you guys are going to fight, it's going to be awful. And I can just sit in the feeling of when we've done it right. And tell the truth. I would love us to start out being connected. At least having a trajectory, right? Well, why do you want that? Telling the truth. Because sometimes I feel like we're going in two different directions. I'm doing my thing, you're doing your thing, and we kind of let each other do our things. We're not mean with each other, but man, it'd be nice to just have more awareness of each other. That would be what I would say. That scares me. So one of the reasons why we don't tell or speak honestly what we want is because we're afraid of the other person's reaction. We are trained to tiptoe. We are trained to back up and not want. And that feels really lonely and isolating, so we don't say anything at all. Okay, this idea of asking for what you would love from another person and telling the truth about what you would love. So if somebody says, well, I mean, do you want this or do you want that? Well, what do you want? If you default that way all the time, you're not telling the truth because you're not looking in and going, is what they want what I would want? The other reason why this is so hard, and this is something that you need to check yourself on, is a competition energy. If I get what I want, then you don't get what you want. So it's a I win, you lose, you win, I lose kind of mentality. One of the loving behaviors is to hear what the other person desires without feeling like you have to do anything about it. Setting that up. I am going to tell you what is in my heart and what I love without any thought that you have to do anything about it. And I'm going to let you tell me what's in your heart without feeling like I have to do anything about it. And once we get that stuff out on the table, now we can talk about how we're going to do this, or if we do it. And we both have a voice and heard. If you're having a really difficult time telling the truth, you may be in competition energy. If you have someone who you say anything about what you want and they shut you down and they tell you all the reasons why either that's not okay or they just bulldoze over you and tell all the reasons why they want things, you are not in conversation. So that needs to be stopped. I need to invite. I would love to invite you into a conversation about something. And I would love to be heard all the way. I'm not telling you to do anything about it. I would love you to hear me all the way. And I'm not going to think that I have to do anything about it. Can we start there? Can we have that agreement? I just want to see what happens if we do it that way. Sometimes we get into this whole, society has this whole thing where you need to speak up, you need to speak your mind, you need to not be quiet, you need to say things. And that is true. And if somebody else tells you something that they would love or they want in any given moment, it does not mean that what you want is invalid. That is at the core. That you shouldn't want what you want because somebody else wants something different than you. That is a lie. Let's go back to the adversary. The liar. Just because somebody wants something different doesn't invalidate the fact that you have a desire in your heart. And just because you tell that person what the desire of your heart is, and they're not willing to participate, it doesn't mean that you stop desiring. All that means is this something that doesn't really matter to me, and it was just a nice idea? Or is this something that I'm actually going to be kind of sad about if I don't experience it? I am an adventurer. I love being outside. I love doing new things. I love climbing. I love really just experiencing things. My sweet husband is the complete opposite. He loves being inside. And he loves being away from people. And he loves not being near them. And I will tell you guys, for years, we have both made each other wrong. He's wrong for wanting to be inside. I'm wrong for wanting to be around people. Is that the truth? So go into these conversations with the idea already that neither one is wrong. You're just different. But you can't even come to the middle. You can't sacrifice If you don't know what you want and what you're sacrificing for somebody else, they can't sacrifice for you. And those sacrifices aren't pure, they're manipulative, unless it's like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it your way. Let's do that. I'm in that groove. Instead of, fine, you win, we'll do it your way. That sucks, right? If you have somebody who's super, super defensive anytime that you speak what you want, and they are panicked that what they want isn't valid, have a conversation prior to. Now, if you got a lot of energy about, envision. That's why we do this every day. Envision not them behaving so that you'll feel. Feel what you want to feel. Find the memory of you feeling what you want to feel, and envision you sitting with the person, or you receiving what you want the most without making anybody feel bad. You can't make people feel bad anyway. You can't make people feel anything. If you could, you would make people feel cooperative and want to do it your way. So you actually can't make them feel bad. It's not a superpower you have, so sorry. Tell the truth about what you want. Ready? First to yourself. This is what I want. This is what I would love. And I want to communicate that. Now, with me and my husband, I have found that he literally just does not enjoy adventuring. So I could say that I can't adventure because my husband doesn't want to. I'm supposed to do things with my husband. I'm not supposed to put him last. I'm supposed to prioritize. But what that does is it squashes my need for my own heart's desires. Is it selfish to want? Let's tell the truth. When I am out and I get to have an adventure and do something, I come back more invigorated and ready to sit and watch TV. So me denying what I want, is it selfish? Or is it the thing? Because otherwise I can sit and watch TV all day and I can think, I can pout, and I can retract, and I can read, and I can just be angry that I never get to be adventuresome. So there's a thing sometimes that gentlemen do, gentlemen. You never put me first. You always put me last. I would love you to double check that one, because a lot of times that one's a mirror. That is a mirror. That you are doing things without any awareness of what your wife or the other person would love. And then you're ready. Hey, I'm here. I would love you to make me a priority in your life. That goes both ways. If you are not feeling like a priority, you've got to check and to see if you are prioritizing the other person. And then you can have that conversation. It's not wrong to feel like you're not a priority, but it's I feel last on your list, okay? Not with, and I want you to do something about it. I feel kind of last on your list. And I don't like that, because I actually would love to be with you. I see that your list is pretty big. What do you feel? Well, I feel like you don't actually want me around or doing things with me. I ask and you say no. So when I'm asking you to go and do things with me, it feels like I'm making you a priority to me. Okay, can you share with me what it means to you to be a priority? And is it okay if I then share with you what it means to me, what I feel like I'm a priority, and maybe we can get some agreement going? Wow, that's kind of like real conversation, because we're actually owning our emotion. We're saying what we feel without making them do anything about it. We're listening to them feel without us doing anything about it. We'll get into more of that as we go through this list of loving behaviors. But today, I encourage you to use some of these tools that we've been doing. Step one, check in. What would you love today? What's on your plate? Is that what you would love? What would you love? And you find the emotion. So if you find something that involves somebody else, envision you feeling some things, not them behaving, you feeling what you would love to feel, and then ask for what you want. Hey, I would love to go see Avatar. I know I've already seen it, but I didn't see it in 3D, and there's somebody who's all excited and wants to see it. I would love to go see it with them. So, do you have any plans today that you would love me included in? What about tomorrow? When is the best time for me to do that? See, I'm not asking permission to go or not. I'm just saying, this is what I love. How does that fit in to our world so that we're okay together? Asking for what you would love. Telling the truth. Well, why do you want to see it? Well, I kind of want to see it because I want to have the 3D experience. I know that you don't like the 3D glasses, but I really do. So I'd kind of like to see it in that version. Well, that's ridiculous. No, actually, me wanting to see it in 3D is just me wanting to see it in 3D. It's not actually ridiculous. Can you see how that conversation goes? I can state what I want without the other person ever validating that it's okay that I want it. That is the absolute core of good communication. All right, everybody. I love you. Ask for what you want today. First, ask yourself, what would I love? Next, ask God, hey, could you help me get what I would love? Ask anybody who is involved and tell the truth. We're going to keep going with this. We're going to peel every single one of these things apart. Loving behavior. We're going to talk about every single one of them. All right? That's it, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great day.